Come on in, guys. So Zoe, this has really been one of the most difficult seasons of Survivor in history. And still, here we are at the final tribal council of Survivor Jeffreys Bay Grade 7's versus Lockdown. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a very difficult season for me as well, and I think some of the most difficult things I had to do was make big decisions that would impact the rest of my life. Things like choosing the correct subjects that could impact whether I follow my dream job or not, or having the right friends to make a positive influence on my life. And these were things that I didn't take lightly at all. It was very hard and scary and difficult for me, but luckily I had teachers and mentors in JLA who always guided me and gave me wisdom and insight and taught me to listen to God's voice. So whenever I have to make a difficult decision now, I can have peace in my heart because I know the Holy Spirit will lead me.
Thank you. Kelly, you're right next to Zoe, you good friends. Tell us about your experience going through Lockdown Island.
I think it was definitely hard, but we all knew that we were going to get through it, even though it seemed like it was going to take really long. We just had to surround ourselves with positive people and always stay positive and know that sometimes things take hard, but in the end it's the better result.
Sabella, I see you shaking your head in agreement. What's your thoughts? What's your mindset like as you go through Survivor?
I definitely agree with what she's saying, because keeping a positive mindset was much easier because we knew that GLA was prepared for this. We had tablets and my ebooks and those platforms, so everything was literally so well organized. I mean, even with the teachers, I never felt scared or anything like that because you have a greater relationship with your teacher to just ask a question, and that really helped me succeed in my academics, so it's super awesome.
Shivago, you're a guy that naturally wants to go deep in your conversations. Tell me a bit about your experience and how you've grown through this Survivor.
Mostly important, GLA helped me grow spiritually. It taught me the importance of having a relationship with God. It taught me how to keep my life checked out. It taught me how to balance my life spiritually and academically and socially as well. So that's a very important thing in my life. It helped me grow spiritually.
Okay, Shivago, you talk about real experiences with the Lord, being exposed to following Jesus. Let's talk practically. How did you grow spiritually in the last few months?
I wasn't afraid to take out some time to listen to somebody else's problems. And that's something God would want me to do on different levels. Jesus told us to go and make disciples of the nation. So I was just honored and blessed to be in an environment where people love Jesus and people who were more like me, were at the same personality. So that helped me, right.
Shivago, let me just respond to that and say, my observation over the past months has really been that you've grown as a man and spiritually. Congratulations with that.
Thank you.
Kelly, your story goes back quite a while. Talk about how you made the decision to join Survivor.
Well, I never really considered Survivor because I didn't really have any options. But it all started at one of the GLA prize givings, and it was the first one I had attended to. And I just thought, oh my word, I almost made the wrong decision. And I just decided, I should be a bit selfish. I should think what would be best for my future and not if my friends were going to come with me along this journey or not. And I decided, you know what, this is going to be the best option. And I decided to go for it, and the Lord led me on this path, and I'm so grateful that I'm here and I'm the best version of myself that I could ever imagine.
Tell me a bit about Kelly. What is school like?
Well, I never was really excited to go to school, but actually being excited for what the day lies ahead and being excited to see friends and be excited to actually get an education because of this an amazing school. I really am grateful for it.
Sabelo, you agree? What's your mindset going into what happens after Survivor?
Yeah, my mindset is quite positive just because of the experience I've had here. I mean, day to day, you can really go to a school day to day and never be noticed. No one will know who you are. But I mean, as soon as I walk through those doors, there's people like, oh, hello, hello. And it's really like a family, you know, like everyone knows each other. And I think that closeness really does help you in developing stronger relationships with other people. And I think you really do need that for out of school life, definitely.
Kiara, joining Survivor was one of the biggest decisions you've made as a team. How do you process a decision like this?
I personally started by praying and manifesting what the Lord wanted in my life and where I would grow most as a person. And in the end, it came down to Survivor and GLA and what it has in store, its core values, and the closeness I saw with, like Sabelo said, it's not just a unit, it's a family. And it's a family where I feel accepted and loved. And I used that perspective of who do I want to be as a person and where would I one day want to send my kids. And with making that decision, it really helped me because the pros far outweighed the cons, if there were any. And yes, so I just looked to God and His guidance and His love and realized that where I will grow is different from somewhere else, but I will flourish and become the best person I can be.
Thank you. Okay, so going into this very important vote tonight, what are you considering? What are you weighing, Zoe?
For me, it's an easy decision. I looked at things like a team who always supported me, who helped me succeed, and who not only let me face challenges alone, but who faced it with me. And tonight, I'm voting for a team who helped me develop as a leader, who showed me God's love through challenges, and who felt like a family to me. And the team I'm voting for isn't just a team, it's really my family, my friends, and I always feel valued and loved and accepted with them. So tonight, I'm voting for a team who helped me develop in God's love and who motivated me to pursue my dreams.
So I can see you not agree with what Zoe is saying. What are you basing your decision on?
I'm really basing my decision on comfortability and being comfortable where I'm at home. Waking up, being in every single classroom, drinking your coffee. I mean, it's just a breeze. You just cruise through every single day, and I love that.
Okay, that's it. It is time to vote. Sabelo, you're up.
Lockdown because when I was at home, I could eat in every classroom.
I voted grade 7 because GLA is a place where I can strive, not just survive.
I voted grade 7 course because the love the school has for God really stood out for me, and that's why I voted grade 7.
I voted for lockdown because I get to work at my own pace and I lived in my pajamas all day.
I'll go tally the votes. Once the votes are read, the decision is final. The losers will be asked to leave the tribal council area immediately. I'll read the vote. First vote, lockdown. Grade 7's. One vote grade 7's, one vote lockdown. Grade 7's, that's 2 votes grade 7's, 1 vote lockdown. Lockdown, that's 2 votes lockdown, 2 votes grade 7, 1 vote left. The winner of grade 7's versus lockdown. Grade 7's. Grade 7's versus lockdown. A warm welcome. What an absolute privilege to have you here as our live audience in our second session for this evening. Some of you I know us already because you've had other children or siblings come through GLA, and I know there's a lot of new parents here as well, and that's exciting for us to have this opportunity to in person show you a little bit of who you are. And it's my privilege. I've put down my Jeff hat and I've put on the principal of GLA hat, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit with you just before we wrap this evening up on who we are as a school, what you can expect when you do join GLA, and just to have a bit of a better understanding of who we are. So I'm going to start way back at the history of Global Leadership Academy. Now back in 2006, we were a couple of young people then that were backpacking around the world in a faith-based journey called Global Challenge. And we were really traveling from one country to the next, serving the poor and needy, spreading the gospel of Jesus, and really on a faith-based journey without real comforts or we had a world flight ticket, and that was basically it. In every country we had to really fight for our survival and trust the Lord, and in that journey we really ourselves grew as leaders. And a couple of years later, a couple of us friends said, well, won't it be wonderful if we can start depositing that leadership already in youth, in young people? And that's where the first thought of a high school were formed. Then, as this Global Challenge grew, that's the organization currently also still established as Global Challenge, sending young people to different nations, even long-term missionaries. Out of that group of young people, there were many qualified teachers that said, listen, we want to go back to South Africa, impact lives, change lives, but we don't want to do it in a traditional high school environment. And with that and the sense of wanting to deposit real life value into young people, the school was birthed in around about September of 2009. We said, okay, we're going to start a school. Then we walked this town of Jeffreys Bay to find a place, and we ended up with a couple of classrooms in Equinox Mall, I would say shops in Equinox Mall, which we converted into classrooms and had 61 learners on that first day. Mr. Young then, when he emceed that first day, and he actually started off by saying, normally you say what you see is what you get, but with us, what you see is what we got. Because there were garden furniture in the classes, for chairs and desks. Just a lot of goodness from locals giving towards us to help us start that school. But the intent from the very start was not to form a traditional high school. There's a place for traditional high schools. We're not it. God called us to be a leadership academy, to raise up future generation of leaders. And it is true, it's a pity that not all learners coming to GLA come with that expectation. I really actually hope and pray that that will change, that young people entering into GLA will come with the knowing and the sense that there's a purpose to me coming to GLA. There's opportunity for me to grow and develop as a young person into the plans and the purposes what God has for me later in life. Now, as we started this, we knew a mall wouldn't always suffice, and we from the very start trusted the Lord for bigger things. One day driving to the mall to buy my wife groceries, I just felt the Holy Spirit prompt me to ask here at Fountains Estate, the real estate agency, if there's any land available, for us to buy. And Mike Williams, he very graciously said, no, don't ask, say you can buy, ask for it. I said, Mike, we'll have to ask because we don't have any money. So we submitted a very short proposal to the developers. A couple of weeks later, Dries de Pre calls and says, okay, well, I would like to see you. And myself and Anne-Marie joins him there at his house. I put on a tie, and Anne-Marie puts on a scarf, and we meet Dries. And he then shares that he's going to give us 5 hectares of land, which we are currently on, for free. He's going to make a donation to us. That's a school with 90 kids who's 4 months old. Absolute miracle. And Anne-Marie and I get back to the school. We keep all the kids in the class, and we ask all the staff to come into the office. And the Holy Spirit led us to take a recording of that very moment and go with me into that moment when we then share the news with the staff.
En ons gee vir alle eer en dank, Here. Here, ons is net so in awe. Ons kan nie anders as om net, dankie te sê.
Die grootheid ken geen perke nie. Ons maak die naam groot en ons sê vir jammer dat ons getwyfel het, maar dankie dat jy vir ons deurgekom het.
So you can see that there's realness. And there's people who loves the Lord, who's expectant for Him to do amazing things. And it's not people that comes from great life experience or qualified in any other way than just the willingness to serve the Lord in ways that He calls us to. And it's from that moment till now that the Lord has brought us. It is He that has brought us thus far. No man, no person can take any credit for what the Lord has done over these years. We are just grateful to be here tonight and having a platform where we can have fun and invite you as parents and grade 7s to join us in the next 5 years. You're really going to entrust your child not to a traditional system or schooling system, but rather to a habitat almost where they will be challenged, but where we will call out of them that faith journey and that certainty that God has a plan for my life and a purpose. And we will do our best to encourage you as a grade 7 coming to us to walk in that calling that the Lord has for you. Okay, so our vision got formulated after also a couple of years. We didn't have this right at the beginning, but we're saying we envision a world where authentic leaders, Christian leaders, follow Jesus and impact their societies. So it's almost a call to unselfish living. To saying, okay, yes, the God is calling me for something, but that life that I live should be to the benefit of others. Yes, you can be successful. And I just saw a young man here that's finishing his articles to become an attorney. One of our old lenders is bringing his baby brother tonight. Not a baby anymore, also a teenager. But yes, he will be successful one day
in his career, but the intent of that will not just be for himself, to enrich himself, but really to influence the spheres and the society around him. Okay, and then I know there's always these questions that I also have to address at an evening as tonight. We follow the national curriculum statement. Your child at the end of grade 12 will receive the exact same certificate than at any other government school. We've had since 2012 a 100% grade 12 pass rate and ended up each year in the top 20 academic schools in the Eastern Cape. And I'm not saying that for any other reason, but to say to you as a parent that we are a place where we will challenge your child and encourage your child to also grow academically. We work hard, but we can also have lots of fun. The subject choices and other information with regard to academics you can find in the prospectus that was handed out to you at the front. Please make sure that if you don't have one yet, you can get one afterwards. Okay. Then extracurricular activities, again, there's a long list, it's in the prospectus, but I do want to say a little bit about our focus. We will never be a sports school. God has called us to be a leadership academy, and that's what our focus is. Sport for us is a vehicle to facilitate life change in a child. Yes, they're going to be competitive. Our netball ladies, tomorrow they're playing at the Eastern Province Trials. The squash team on Friday they're playing against Grey and Collegiate. So your child will have all those opportunities, I can guarantee you that. But it will not be the focus for us. Our focus will be the development and the growth of your child within that sport. I'll take an example. A couple of years ago I had guys come knocking on the door to start soccer. Others to do mountain biking, others to do archery. And what we said is, okay, let us use this opportunity to make a student-led movement within the school, where extracurricular activities are also done and facilitated by those learners. And the soccer guys, they joined the most guys on a Wednesday afternoon practice, and the mountain bikers and the archers. So really, that's again a testimony of the intent to really give ownership also to learners to come up with creative ideas and live out their passions. Okay, so what can you expect? There's 5 things I'd like to touch on. The first one is we love Jesus. I think you've heard that, and you've heard it tonight also, and the testimonies from these young people here. We love Jesus, and your child will be influenced. We are different, and that's also an important one, because you're sitting here considering different schools. If you're looking for a traditional school, GLA is going to disappoint you. We're not a traditional high school. We don't walk in lines. We do things differently. Learners dress in a range of school clothes according to their personality. There's things here that's different from a traditional high school. Then we are future focused, and I think some of you spoke about that during lockdown, how that actually helped us. But it's not just the platform that we use, Google Classroom or my ebooks, the tablets that the textbooks are on. It's also in the entire way of our approach. You saw the presentations here tonight. We want your child to be equipped for a future that looks completely different than any of us can imagine, even tonight. And for that, even if it's a little thing like gaining confidence on the tablet, working with that during their studies, that's a skill that is really valuable, because when your child walks out of grade 12, they won't have any books when they get to university. Or when they go to a job, they will have to have those technical skills. And if they've got that confidence, it will give them an edge. Okay, the fourth is we are creative. Now, I think that's also important to realize what that means. Is if your child then finishes with GLA and they've had exposure to events like this, okay, when any of these guys do a pitch one day at a corporate business or at a university or wherever they are in life, this experience, am I right, will be the benchmark for you. And you'll come up with the best stage design or the best pitch or whatever, because you've been in an environment that's been creative. And so that's really important to consider also if you do join us, that there will be ample opportunity to live out your creativity at GLA. And then pioneering, if you heard my stories in the beginning of traveling to new nations, being pioneers, that's part of our DNA. And so you'll constantly find new things happening within the GLA environment. This is 3 things that I'd just like to quickly mention. I'm sure you've heard of them. The first one is travel school. Now, of course, we know we're not able to do that at the moment, but our intent is to take grade 10s for 7 weeks in the academic year where they actually have school while traveling. In other words, they're not going to be in a classroom. They'll have their backpacks on, they'll wash their own dishes, cook their own food, make their own bed, wash their clothes. All of those things that you're not getting them to do, we'll make sure they do it. And you'll pay us for it. And then when they get back, you'll have a child that actually sorts themselves out. Okay? That's the whole purpose of travel school. But it's also to give them exposure to that faith journey, for them to trust the Lord. And as a team, to work together to get from point A to point B. Of course, we are kind of facilitating that. We're not just letting them go. We're traveling with them. But it's that life experience that really benefits learners in the long run. LED is the in-school leadership experience discipleship program, where learners, according to their interests, can join a group. And that group can be mountain biking or baking or needlework or whatever. And there's a mentor that actually facilitates it, but with the purpose of growing your child. And then the last one is Shift Your Learning. We launched that in the beginning of this year. And it's a different approach to remote learning. We've got currently 6 grade 8s enrolled. And they are working at their own pace through the curriculum which our teachers facilitate, but they're not in school. And we had a survivor camp a while back with these learners, and they're on average saving at least a day of school that they can then use on other activities and interests to also develop them personally. Just general information, it is in the prospectus, all the things you'd like to know regarding school fees and schoolwear, all of that. Please take your time to read through that at home. And you're also, of course, welcome to speak with any of us afterwards. All right, and then the last thing is, we're inviting you to join a family. You're not just joining a school. You know what's great about a family? We can have different opinions. We can have things that we don't agree upon. You can be even mad at us. And we can have an honest relationship because there's a commitment. And we will have fun and joyous moments. But there is a commitment to act in the best interest of your child. And when you're in a family, you're able to, in honesty, talk to each other about your struggles, about your challenges. And that's my invitation, really, tonight, is to say that's what we're inviting you to a relationship over the next 5 years where we together build out your child and develop him or her to the best person that they can be. Well, this has been one of the most exciting and demanding seasons we've had in the history of Survival. And tonight, before we go to the credits, I've got one surprise left. Let's have a peek at the next season, Survival Global Leadership Academy.
I vote grade 7 because it helped me unlock my true potential.